Good day everyone, today Angela and I would like to introduce a famous song for our Corpus Linguistic's final project. And our topic is Chinwisery in English, the integration of pop music and literature. In addition to verb, I will analyze the literature embellishment linked to rhetoric, and Angela will mainly focus on the verbs in the translation. According to Culture Gap, there are significant differences between English and Chinese, especially in figure of speech. 青花瓷 is a very typical Chinese song with Chinwisery melody and the lyrics filled with Chinese literary devices. In the following presentation, we will see how this rhetoric affects translation and cause different results in Chinese and English. We will adopt Google Translate as the tool. It is a machine translation system developed by Google in the year 2006. It supports 133 languages in translating text, documents, and websites from one language into another. Now, let me introduce the 5 sentences of the lyrics first. On the bottom of each slide, I will adopt the translation from these two websites for audience to compare the human translation with machine translation tool and see how different they could be. The word shu here is a verb that someone wrote down something with a special format, Han official scripts, and Han Li here is an object. However, in the Google translated version, Han Li seems to be a subject that be able to do an action and imitation, which is totally different from the original context in the lyrics, translated in Chinese by Google. We can see Han Li here is translated as a person's name, which is actually a common font style in Han Dynasty. The coming of the lyrics is responding to the previous action, that the protagonist in the lyrics wrote down something on the base of the face particularly, in order to meet someone. Therefore, the word dang is not about time, when, but it is the intention of the protagonist. Google Translation is doing well in cohesion, but coherence is obviously still the limitation so far. And here, I chose similar phonemes to echo the previous lyrics, and make it symmetrical to the ending sounds of Chinese lyrics. It is another limitation for Google Translate, since it won't be translated by phonology, such as sound patterns, the rhyming scheme in terms of rhyme elements, alliteration, consonants, and assonance. The words 伏笔. The songwriter used the rhetoric skill, the nominalization, which is also verbing, the act of converting a noun into a verb. In contrast to nominalization, that turn adjectives or verbs into nouns, it is also quite often used in English literature. However, it is the limitation for machine translate here. The color models of 天青色 is totally different from the model of sky blue, which is translated by Google. However, it is difficult to find the translation that matches with the 天青色, because it is a special color with a beautiful illusion. It refers to blue and white porcelain, and the color is named and assigned by the 8th Emperor Song Huizong in Song Dynasty. It's believed that the color 天青 is the sky color only appears after raining days. Therefore, the songwriter used a reverse causation. It is the metaphor that the protagonist's love and waiting is destined in vain. In rhetoric skills, pathetic fallacy is also used in both Chinese and English to illustrate the artistic conception. Moreover, in this Chinese pop song, repetition and synesthesia are used to reach the artistic state. In the origin of the lyrics, 芭蕉 is quite different with banana. They are huge green leaves and were popular in Chinese poems adopted by Chinese poets because they are beautiful plants. For example, 杜牧 and Li Qingzhao. The 芭蕉 in their poems definitely doesn't refer to bananas. And let's see the verb here, the verb 惹, translated into the word cause. The readers may be confused with the meaning both in translating English and Chinese. How could it be possible that leaves or a door knocker will be able to do something or cause something happened? Then let's talk about Chinese rhetoric. The songwriter used repetition, personification, parallelism, and synesthesia. These are rhetoric skills also used in English literature. However, these are a limitation in Google's translation. Another limitation for a machine translation tool is verification. 江南小镇, in fact, is not a town but an area close to Yangtze River, Changjiang. In Chinese, 那 could refer to that or a particular one object, but it could refer to nothing. For example, 那好吧 means okay, then, or meaningless. In the scene or the conception of the song, the songwriter did not mention any particular town. However, in Google Translate, 江南小镇 refers to a particular town both in English and Chinese translation. Let's back to the main topic verb. The Chinese word 惹 in English could mean cause something happen or attract someone. Different with the previous sentence, the verb in the lyrics 惹 here. It refers to attract someone to feel a strong emotion and desire to do something. Stir up, therefore. It's more like the intention that the songwriter would like to express in the song. It is one of the limitations for a machine to analyze the artistic perception when process the translation. Now, Angela will analyze more lyrics of the song for us.
My first sentence is 色百花青的经历耀然于碗底. There are many problems in this sentence. First, there are two ways to say 经历. One is koi fish, and the other one is carp. However, Google Translation doesn't use any of these two ways. Second, as we can see in the English translation, the translation is totally wrong. It said that 色百花青的经历 is the koi of white and cyan. But the koi of white and cyan in Chinese should be 白色和青色的鲤鱼. It is extremely weird because it made me feel like there are two kinds of koi fish in the bowl. One is white and the other one is cyan. However, it is not what the song wants to express. It is talking about one fish with both white and cyan colors. So, the same problems just happens during the English to Chinese translation. The koi of white and cyan really becomes 白色和青色的经历, which is very different from the original 色百花青的经历. Next one is 临摹宋体临款却惦记着你. Google Translation just translates the whole sentence directly by its literal meaning. Therefore, the poetic feeling of the original Chinese sentence disappears totally. The sentence sounds very weird because it has no emotion. As we can see, the English to Chinese translation is extremely ridiculous. It is far from the original Chinese sentence. We can say that Google Translation is wrong. Instead, it just does the translation according to the English sentence, and its translation is straightforward. It just doesn't try to make the sentence become more elegant or beautiful by using high-level words. That is to say, The emotion of the tough words are hard to express through translation. Next, 你隐藏在窑烧里千年的秘密。These sentence phrases no problem during the process of translation. There are only very small differences between them, and they don't affect the meaning of the sentence. For example, 隐藏 becomes 藏 after the translation, and they have no difference. And 窑烧 become 窑. They also had no difference between them. Next, 极细腻犹如绣花针落地. I think there is no problem with Chinese to English translation, but there are some problems with English to Chinese translation. As we can see, in the two Chinese translations, 犹如袖珍花落地 become 落地的袖珍. I think that is because in English, we don't use verb phrases to modify nouns. However, in Chinese, we can do that. Therefore, 犹如袖珍花落地, 绣花针落地 is grammatically correct in Chinese, but it is wrong in English. Therefore, there must be some problems during the process of translation. In addition, there is no verb in the English translation, so when it is translated into Chinese, it also has no verb. That is why 有如绣花针落地 becomes 如落地的袖珍. And my final one is 炊烟袅袅升起，隔江千万里. The artistic conception of 炊烟 disappears after translated into English. Google Translation just translates it into the smoke of cooking. However, 炊烟 should not be limited to the smoke of cooking. In addition, if we use cooking as the translation, it is far away from the meaning that the song wants to express. There is deeper significance behind 炊烟. Maybe if we change the translation into smoke out of the chimney, it can better match the mood that the songmaker wants to express. And from English to Chinese translation, we can see that the original 隔江千万里 becomes 千里过河. These two sentences have very different meanings. That is to say, through English to Chinese translation, the sentence meaning are changed, and we can clearly see that Google just translates thousands of miles across a river directly from the literal meaning. So it is totally different from the original 隔江千万里. And this is my report. Thank you.
From the results analysis, we notice there are several major limitations between Chinese and English translation in terms of coherence, which we need to investigate and study more details about the rhetoric, source, or original allusion, artistic conception in terms of metaphor, and aesthetic competence in phonology such as rhyme. It is a beautiful song, and we hope you like it.